It's my mission on this channel to retire everybody that watches, and I'm going to do that by 2025. How I plan on making that happen is by enforcing two golden rules on this channel. One is that when you buy a coin, it must exist in the 0.236 zone on the Fibonacci's. The 0.236 zone is right here, it's this red box right here, and as you can see, EOS is occupying the lower end of the Fibonacci's on the 0.236 scale. So for that reason, EOS is a very promising buy. But there's a second rule, and I'm going to get to the second rule a little bit later, and it's ultimately the decision whether I buy a coin or not. If you know what that is already, type it in the comments, because that means you've been watching the channel and you've been learning. The big question on everyone's lips right now is, are we collapsing on EOS? Is EOS collapsing? Because recently we saw price movement in EOS that took us to almost the wicks of the previous bear cycle, right? So we got really low for EOS, we got some really good purchase opportunities. To all-time low, we were only 20% away. So another a tiny little decrease from where we came down to recently. Let's see, 17% decrease from where we were recently yesterday would have taken us to the previous bear run's low. So EOS, that's why EOS is in that 0.236 and so low in there. But I want to get into a few things. First of all, I want to draw a different Fibonacci on here, because this Fibonacci extension that I had on previously doesn't include my 0.702 to 0.666 price range. And that 666 price range is super important on this channel because prices seem to have action around there, and they usually tend to be a really good sell-off point. As you can see, that local high that we had back here on the 11th of May 2021 got up there into the 0.618 to kind of 666 zone. So obviously if you're using the lines to sell out, then you would have hit this 0.618. The 0.618 is a retracement line. So just like the 0.666 and the 702, they're all retracement lines. So when coins do their retracements, they always tend to have an aggressive reaction off these lines, right? The main 702 or 666 extension reaction that we've been looking for recently is in Bitcoin, right? So we're looking for Bitcoin to hit this 702, 666 range to then start the bear cycle. In that time, that's the alt season. And that's the time where these coins like EOS and Dash and Zcash and so many tremendous coins that all exist in the 0.236, that's their time to shine, because they have proven by the fact of that they haven't hit a new all-time high in this cycle, and that's golden rule number 2. They've proven that they haven't done anything in this cycle yet. From the bottom to the top to where we recently saw in this local all-time high, it was only an 8x from EOS, right? We've seen tons of coins already go up like 50x, 60x, 100x. Those are the coins that have already finished the cycle, right? I hope you can kind of understand my concept there. So if we look at Bitcoin, for example, and we look at the percentage gain from the bottom of Bitcoin to if you had sold at the 3.2 line, which I tell everyone to do, the 3.2 line there was already 18x, and we're talking about Bitcoin, right? So Bitcoin's done its thing. The upper end of the Fibonacci's have been hit. It's had its new all-time high this cycle, and it's not in the 0.236. So don't buy Bitcoin. Don't buy Ethereum. Don't buy Cardano. Those have all hit those limits. The further down on the 0.236 we are, the better the deal is, basically. It basically means that EOS has done nothing in this cycle. And I think the big question that everyone's thinking, did EOS collapse and is it dead? That's what I get in the comments all the time and on Twitter and everything. Is EOS dead? I think EOS is dead. EOS is a dead project. EOS is a scam. Okay, well, let's look at this, because we were anticipating a double tap for Bitcoin, and we were saying this for just over a month, really, that we were going to be double tapping. And for Bitcoin, we did come down to technically what I call a double tap. For EOS, no matter what you call it, that's a double tap. We even overextended a double tap. So you could make the argument that it went even past a double tap there, like that. You made kind of this trend line here. For me personally, and I think that anyone who bought EOS in this dip, who paid attention to what I was saying, I basically said this line right here at $2.13, once we'd seen these wicks come in and we'd seen the price go up, if you want to try to buy a double tap, set your buy orders at this line here, $2.13. And look, lo and behold, price comes down, hits $2.13, does come all the way back down way lower, but wicks straight back up. So where we stand today is actually, I mean, you're only 2% down on your order that you made as that double tap. And I do like to be conservative. That's why I didn't tell everyone to set their buy orders right down at the bottom of the wick. Ultimately, that would have worked out better, but you know, you got to be conservative in these things. And so the double tap has happened for EOS. We've come down further than we thought, but we have had this sideways movement at the bottom of the previous wick. So that's a good sign that we're forming a support now, right? So we're forming a support ready to come back up to the upside. The crazy thing about EOS is that, like I said with my rules, you can't have had a new all-time high this cycle. That was golden rule number 2. I've got it the wrong way around now. But it also has to exist in the 0.236. And I just want to give you an idea as to why buying down here, even if you missed that wick, is still amazing. Because from today's price where we are, what's that, $2.09, you've got a 2x on your money from today's purchase to still be a good price for EOS, right? $6.57 is still a good price. It's still a good price, because even if you bought at the top of the 0.236, so it still fits my rule right there, and rode it to the 3.2, that's still a 10x from there. That I see the 3.2 as the upper limit of the Fibonacci's, that it would be ultimately your last sell point. So that would be at $69-ish. If you're new to this channel and you haven't ever seen that 3.2 line, it's because it's my custom line. I've backdated it historically to look at which lines were most commonly hit on the ends of peaks, and the 3.2 just came out far above and beyond. Lots of people on this channel like to say that my predictions are the 4.236 zone, but the top of the fibs are rarely hit. Rarely. I mean, even for Bitcoin, we've seen the top of the cycle come in, but the top of the fibs didn't quite hit. The 3.2 got hit and the 3.618 got hit, but the 4.236 didn't. So if you're trying to use that as a reliable place to take your money out, I would suggest moving that further down. My chosen position is the 3.2. So if you wanted to ride from today's purchase of EOS and you wanted to ride that to the 3.2, you're looking at a 32x on your money. When you hear people calling a coin dead, that also has historical data, that has also followed the rest of the market, also hasn't hit a new all-time high this cycle, and is in the 0.236, you should be loading bags on that. It's not financial advice. Actually, that sounded like financial advice. I would be buying if I was interested in buying, right? And actually, the price we're at today is way better than any price that I've bought EOS before. Way better. Because, like I said, I could buy all the way up here at $5.89. I could buy all the way up at $6.40. And I still consider that a good buy. So I would be very down right now. But you have to zoom out and have perspective of that 3.2 line and how much growth potential there is. This coin is conformed to every rule that you want it to conform to, based on, if you look at it as having capitulated through this time. Usually what you need to see in these coins is historical data, based on, if you look at it as having capitulated through this time. We've seen a support. Usually what you need to see in these coins is historical data. You need to see, first of all, you need to see a support and a resistance. We've seen that before we've even put the fibs on, right? Because you put the fibs on the peak of the market, drag it down to the bottom. We've seen a support and a resistance even before the fibs got put on, which means the price was like matured by the time the peak came in. So then when we've got a peak and a bottom, we know that that's the bottom and we can accurately draw our fibs on that. The fibs indicate that we're going up to $69 for EOS. Now, if you're not that comfortable with waiting all the way up to the 3.2, I urge you to take profit, or you need to understand your exit strategy. Because if you don't have an exit strategy and the plan is, I'm just going to wait and see how I feel at the top, you're going to lose that way. You're going to get too confident, or you're going to go to bed one day and say, oh, we didn't quite get to the 3.2, so I'm just going to wait. It might even go to the 3.618. I'm just going to wait. I'm going to sleep on it and see what it's like tomorrow. And instead of being at the 3.2, so let's say you got to here, it was above the 3.2, but it was just short of the 3.618, and you decided just to go to bed that night, hope that your sell orders at the 3.618 got filled, and then you wake up the next day and the price is all the way down here. That can happen. And that would mean, like, any of your bags that you had, you've just lost 70% of it, just because you didn't come out at the appropriate time. There's one other thing that you absolutely have to understand really deeply, because ultimately it is your biggest safety catch when leaving this market. And you can watch my deep dive into it on this video. And you can also become a member. Thanks.